Okay, so here we go. Today I'm going to show you how you're going to be pressing a skateboard in class. We have our materials prepped already. I have my Titebond glue ready to go. I have my makeshift measuring cup. When you measure your glue out per layer, it's about half of this cup full. And then I have my boards already chosen. So if through your research you did not come across the different layers of boards, you need to go back and look up what each layer does. But know that there should be 7. I don't want to give too much away for you here. So if you didn't do your research, you wouldn't know that. If you did do that, that's a pretty basic question, like what should the grain look like in your board? So I'm gonna get started here. We have there is kind of a time limit once you get going. You can't just take 30 minutes to do this. There's like a 9-minute clock essentially once you pour your first piece of glue and get it gluing before it actually starts setting up. So we're gonna glue it and then we're gonna set it in our press over here. I'm not sure how well you could see that. Maybe I need to. There's our press. And that's the bottom half of the mold, and then we'll get the top half of the mold set up once we get all of our layers in there. So I'm gonna start gluing. You just glue layer by layer. Your first layer, you're gonna take your glue. Okay. You can see how I have that going there, and maybe if you're gonna be doing this in partners anyway. So if you did it in partners, right now the partner that is not essentially painting the glue should be filling the cup up with the next glue. For your very first board, if you're the first one on making the skateboard for that day, your paintbrush will soak up a bit of the glue. So your very first layer, you probably are going to need a little bit more glue than normal because the wood will soak some up, but you'll get a lot soaked up from the paint roller as well. So I'm just gonna find all my little dry spots, okay? And I'm gonna get those in my dry spots, okay? So getting those in my dry spots, then I'm gonna re-roll it. Just make sure there's no dry spots on there, okay? You shouldn't have to do that on the ones after this because your glue roller will actually be ready to go. Okay, so ready to go on that one. You can see how the whole thing's shiny. Stick it right in here. Make sure it lines up perfectly with the mold, and then you're on to the next one. Like I said, your partner should be filling up the glue for you. Again, you want that filled up about halfway, so I'm filling it up to right about there. Sorry, you probably can't see that. Right about there. And then I'm gonna go on to my next one, okay? And you only need to glue one side. Okay, so I'm just kind of getting it started, spreading it around, and then I'm going to start gluing it out. Also, on a side note, you'll notice that I have a funky apron on. It's my awesome gluing apron. That way I don't get glue all over my nice clothes. It is okay if you get a little bit of glue on the table when you roll over the edges. And then I also have my rubber gloves on. So we have those in class for you. So you are able to use those, okay? So then I stick my next one on there. All right, so again, I want it centered. I want it centered as much as possible in there, right down the middle, right at the end. That way, we're maximizing the wood in there, okay? So I've got my first cross layer in there. Again, you can see I'm kind of working quickly because I know I'm on a time limit here before the glue starts really setting, okay? So you don't want to wait. You don't want to wait around on this one. You want to get it in there. You don't have to rush like insane, like it's a fire or anything. Speaking of fire, I think there's supposed to be a fire drill in about 15 minutes. So hopefully this is done before then. Okay. Now I'm rolling it in there. Okay. Getting all my glue in there. Glue side up. Again, placing it in the center there. Okay. On to the next one. Again, you guys all have a partner hopefully setting it up. We want to get really nice coverage throughout the whole thing, right? So that you get really good adhesion between all the different layers, because we want this to come out as one piece. And we're going to put lots and lots of pressure on this. Once we get it into our press, we're going to try to get it as close. We're going to get it up to around 15,000 pounds, or sorry, 15 tons, so about 30,000 pounds. That's just kind of it's not the limit of our press, but I feel a little more comfortable with that, especially since until we have the steel I-beams come in that we need for our press, that's kind of where I feel comfortable with our limit. So, but we'll get to that in a second. So I'm just gluing. Probably do a little fast forwarding in the video if I have time to go back and edit. Usually I don't. But I'll just keep talking. Okay, so again, I'm gluing. Okay, anybody that's messing with any kind of chemicals or glue in here should have your apron on. Same goes for if you're painting, have your apron on, have your gloves on. That way it's easy to clean up. Okay. All right, there we go. This might actually be, it's our second to last board. Okay, so again, trying to get really good coverage throughout the whole thing. Okay, that looks good. Awesome. And then our second to last one. Actually, it's our last gluing. It's the second to last board. You don't have to glue the last board because it goes right on top. Then we have, almost done here, almost done. In class, hopefully by the time you guys are actually making this, we won't be using wood as our beams across to distribute that force. Hopefully we'll have our I-beams come in. They should be in the next month or so. Check out kids walking across. They don't even realize they're on video right now. Okay, there we go. And then last but not least, we don't have to glue this one because this is our very last board. You just place it right on top. Okay, there we go. And that's going to eventually be the top of our board. All right, you're going to grab the top of the mold. Okay, so this is the top of our mold right here. This is very similar to the one that you guys designed in class. Okay, and what I'm looking for here is, let me wheel you guys closer here. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is, does this point match up with this point down here? You want to make sure that these 2 points match up and these 2 points match up. And our top of our mold is actually a little bit wider than the bottom of our mold. So we want to just make sure everything's centered. We're looking at our wood that's in there. We want to make sure that that's all centered as much as possible, okay? So that we can get, okay, so you see how I'm checking everything out? Making sure everything's pulled. Okay. Then we're going to take our beams. Got 3 beams here. And we're going to go 1 in the middle. 1 on the side. And then 1 on the edge. And then we're going to put our big metal pieces right on top. Again, it's all about distributing that load evenly, okay? So now I'm pretty much ready to press here. I think I'm going to take one last look before I start putting in all of the force into there, okay? Scooch it over just a bit. There we go. Make sure everything's lined up, okay? that lined up? That looks good. Okay, I'm gonna turn my knob that's actually down here. That make sure that I'm getting pressure. If you start pressing and you don't see either this coming down or your gauge changing, it means you're not tight down there. So just keep pressing. This is the fun part, right? It's where you get to see all the forces at work. So you should start seeing this. We're gonna go up until it says 16 tons, okay? Everything looks pretty well distributed. Okay, just double checking. Can't hurt to double and triple check. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Ah, you can see it start meeting up. We're pressing now. We're actually getting in there. You can hear the wood creaking. It's awesome. You're making a skateboard. Okay, hear the wood cracking and creaking and under the strain. Okay. So right now we're at about 2 tons on there. That's car. Okay. Then once you get over to this way, once we start getting some pressure on there, I'd like you to switch to this side. Okay, keep it from the side. That way, if something does go catastrophically wrong, you have at least some protection in between you. Okay, now we're at 10 tons. Keep it going. Keep it going. So we're at 16 now. Can you hear it creaking a little bit? It's looking good. Okay, nothing crazy happening. Should check along the way. Okay, hear it creaking. It's under a lot of load. Okay. So once you hit 18 tons, you're just gonna let it sit, and you are pressing a skateboard, and so we need to let this sit. I like letting it cure for about 8 hours. So if you're last class of the day, you're just gonna let it sit overnight. And then the next day when you come in, your board will be ready, and you'll just write your name up on the corner that it's yours and your partner's board. And you'll have the rough end of a skateboard, and then I'll upload some other videos and show you some other videos of how you're actually gonna cut it, the templates that you'll use, and the other tools that you'll be using. So, and that's that. So, great job. Hope you have fun.